Somebody say barbecue. Memphis style today. Let's get it. All right, next up on the list is Memphis style barbecue. If you know anything about that, ribs are it, baby. So we got 2 racks here. We're gonna do a dry rib on one, wet rib on the other, and we're gonna see which one we like best. So, you know what's first? Let's fire up that pit. All right, so we got the charcoal going. Hopefully that gets warmed up pretty soon. Meanwhile, we need to get the membrane off the back of these ribs so we can get them trimmed up and ready to be seasoned. One of the easiest ways to get this membrane off the back of the ribs is to grab a paper towel. This is going to help you get grip on the membrane that might be on the back. Usually with just your fingers, it's very difficult to get a hold of. There's lots of other tricks. Some people take butter knives, get underneath there right down the middle and is able to pull it off. For me, my best practice has just been using the paper towel. There's one. Two. So as far as trimming goes, usually on baby backs, there's not a whole lot to do, but we are gonna trim off some of these excess pieces here and make them in a really nice shape so they cook up well. We don't have any burnt up pieces, all right? So let's get these things trimmed up so we can get them seasoned up. As far as Memphis flavors go, they're kind of all over the place a little bit, but what we can really rely on today is we're going to try to make our best dry rib and our best wet rib as we possibly can. So as far as rubs here today, we got a little mixed up rub that we made here in-house, and we have a rub that's already pre-mixed, bought off the internet. We got a little bit of the gospel from Meat Church, and I have not really ever used one. So I'm excited to try Meat Church. I watched their channel. I think he does a great job. So I'm excited to see what kind of flavors he's got in his rubs. So we're gonna use our own mixed up rub here for our dry rib today. And then we're gonna use the gospel on our wet rib. Ready for the pit. So today we're really focusing on that difference between the wet rib and the dry rib, okay? Halfway through this cook, we're gonna take out that wet rib that we seasoned up with the gospel. We're gonna get it in some foil with some barbecue sauce, and that's gonna be our wet rib. Now the dry rib, we're leaving it on there. No foil help, nothing. Just the dry rub that we made today, and we're gonna let that ride till it's finished out. So that one's probably gonna take a little bit longer, especially since we're gonna probably be cooking them around the same temperature the entire time. Right now we're sitting a little bit above 200, about 210, 215. We're still trying to get that tank warmed up. It is a little chilly out here. It's starting to sprinkle too, but at least, hey, it's not negative 25 like it was last week. So yeah, we're gonna keep handling this fire for now, get the temperature up, keep throwing some more hickory logs on, because that is some Memphis barbecue. We'll see you in a couple hours. All right, so we are just about an hour and a half in here. We have been really hitting that 250 mark really nicely. Got some good smoke coming. We're gonna check these things out. We're gonna hit them with little spritz. We have half and half apple cider vinegar and apple juice in here. I like the vinegar in there just for a little bit of that edge, that tang, and then obviously the apple juice for a little bit more sweetness. All right, we're gonna keep this riding. We'll probably check in maybe about another hour and a half to see how we're doing. Okay, we are right at 4 hours, and we're going to get the wet rib out, and we're going to get it wrapped up in some barbecue sauce. We're gonna check the dry one, see how it's going. I noticed that that rack was a little bit smaller, so there's a chance that it might be cooking quicker, but we should be okay with how the foil is going to speed the process up on the bigger rack. So let's check out these ribs. Right here's our wet rack. Gonna get that all wrapped up. Let's check out our dry one. All right, let's get it wrapped up. All right, so for our wet rib, we're going to be taking our spritz. We're gonna get it down in the foil to create some moisture in there. And then we're gonna take our sauce today. We got some sweet and zesty from Famous Dave's. I really enjoy Famous Dave's sauce, all of them. I've really enjoyed any of them that I've honestly ever tried. So pick yourself some up of this down in the description below. But that's what we got here in this bottle. We put a little bit in this bottle, and we actually cut it with a little bit of apple cider vinegar just to give it a little bit more tanginess, and also to thin out that sauce a little bit so it spreads on our rib a little bit better. All right, so we ended up bringing everything inside. It was getting way too cold outside. The wind was starting to really pick up, probably really picking up on the phone audio too. So we brought stuff inside. When we probed these ribs, they were 203, 205 in between the bones. Now the bones on the wet rib were actually a little bit lower. It did take the foil covered ribs a little bit longer to cook. So that was a little bit surprising to me, but it is a bigger rack of ribs, so that could be why. I do like the color of the dry rib better than the wet rib. I think the wet rib got wrapped a little early, but that was probably a little bit premature on my part. So we're gonna eat them. I'm sure they'll taste great. Visually, could have done a little bit better. Okay, let's dig in here. We got the, I don't know. Let's try the wet one first. Do the wet rib. Nice shiny top here. Visually, it does look like the wet rib does have more juice in it, but that could just be from the juice on the outside. Look at that, perfect bite through rib, cooked perfectly. That bite was better than the first. I got a little bit more sauce on that one. I honestly don't think I'm getting a whole lot of the rub on this, so a little disappointed by the rub. But as far as a juicy, tender rib goes, that's pretty good. I can get down with the sauce that's on there for sure. Cleaned it right off. I honestly think the dry rib is gonna be better. No offense to Meat Church. Rib number 2, perfect bite. Like 2 for 2 on doneness there. I honestly don't know if I can tell a difference in as far as moisture goes. I think they're both pretty even as far as moisture, at least inside the rib. Definitely tell the outside is drier because that's what it's intended to be. I do taste the rub on this one versus the other one, but I definitely like the sauce in the other one better. I'm half tempted to try some sauce on the dry. I cleaned it off just well. All right, so I know I probably shouldn't be doing this because it's supposed to be the dry rib. However, I really think I like the rub on this one better, but I like the sauce on this side because I like sauce on my stuff. So we're gonna take a dry rib, we're gonna try it out with our famous Dave sauce that we put on the wet rib. Thanks, Dave. I'm here for that. That's a winner. That was it right there. Sauce on the dry rib, I'm in for it. I definitely say I prefer the dry rib over the wet rib at this point. Could it be different if we put different rubs and different sauces on there? Possibly. I'd say successful cook. Thank you, Memphis, for letting us stick around and try your stuff. Thanks for coming in, joining us here on this journey across America. Till next time, where we try a different regional flavor and probably wrap this series up so we can start a next one. So we'll see you next time. And like we do every time, sauce it up.